to the hottest Mashup Friday in East and Central Africa, when we break down the big topics in Kenya and the summary of your home. And today's topic is, in whose hands are we safe in? So that's about the security sector. So I hope you enjoy the topic. This at King's TV on Facebook and King's Fraternity on YouTube. And today we have the best analyst in studio with us who will help us break down the topics that will enable you understand more on the security sector in Kenya. Okay.
Security perspective, I'm an end of the CSE. So matters security, we are able to nail down issues right from the government perspective, the youth perspective, and also as a common mwananchi.
Yeah. Okay, so today's topic is about security, and what we want to focus more is about in which area, like in what security field are people of Kenya safe. Like even our objective is to educate people on how to enhance better relationship with the authorities. We need people to have a good relationship with the government of Kenya. How should we interact with the government if the government of Kenya is not taking advantage of its citizens? So, okay, so we start from the start, and what can you say about security? What is security? The word security.
Now, security, in my perspective, is where the people's, we have property are safe, people are safe, and the country is safe. That is where we talk about we are secure. And in this perspective, every one of us has a role to play. The government has a role to play. The common mwananchi has a role to play. The institutions have a role to play. So all of us are contributing in ensuring that there is security.
Yes. So you have said the government and the people have a role to play, but what if the government takes more advantage on its citizens? What can we do?
You know, we say that the government represents the people. So we are talking about a situation where everything that is being done by the government should be vested in making sure that people are safe.
Yes.
And if they are a representative of the people, then it's upon the citizens to agitate for their rights, to make sure that the government is doing as pertains what the citizens require.
Okay, you have said a point on like property and everything yourself. Let's say I have a land, there is somebody out there who is having a land. Then they were given this title deed by their grandfather or somewhere. The title deed is hereditary, yes? So you have been given a title deed is under the name of the grandfather, and now the grandfather dies and leaves the title deed with you. So the government comes building roads, and the government says this land is our road. Like this land is a government or, and you know back in your head that your grandfather left you a title deed that is concerning the land. What should you say about that?
Now, number one, we say that we hold the entire land mass is held by the people on behalf of the government. So number one, it's an issue of was the land genuinely acquired?
Yes.
Was the land genuinely acquired? If the land was genuinely acquired, then we should make sure that there is a preservation of road reserve, because the government cannot wake up one day and decide that they want to construct a road. Then the other area that should be considered, if you have to surrender the title deed to the government, then there must be proper compensation. Remember, if it's in the interest of the people, they should be able to compensate the citizens.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, we go to the next question. Like, I want to, like somebody out there want to become a security agent. And now you are the security enrollee. Like you are enrolling the security persons. So, which are the stages or which are the process that one must follow for them to qualify to you as a security agent?
Now, for security agencies, there is the professional check. Number one, you cannot be enrolled to be a security agent if your records, your previous record on conduct, like for example, you must possess a good conduct. Then because we are advancing with time, we are advancing and we want hands-on people, people who can be able to gather intelligence. Then also the education background is very important when you are selecting. And that's why, in order to improve the professionalism amongst the security agencies, we are keen on that is the academic background and all that. Then also there are other things like sober mind, good decision making, talk about the general body fitness and all that.
Oh. So for somebody to be a security agent, you must be like an A+ in everything. Like you need an A+.
It's not necessarily an A+, but you must be having a very good cognizance in that you can be able to, what we may term as detect. You can be able to extract information. You can be able to comprehend things. You can be able to join the dots.
Yes. Okay, so the next question goes to you, and it's about, you have said you are a Kenyan in this country, you are a citizen in this country. So this is a question to you, to the people, like to even me myself, but it is posed to you to try to fill in the gap of other Kenyans. So the question goes by, security persons paid enough? Because whatever we see in every area, we see a lot of mistakes, a lot of bribes, a lot of corruption. Like when you go to the companies, you find a gate person. You need to bribe a gate person. When you are late to a company, you need to bribe a gate person to allow you to go in, for you to sign in. And let's say in the field, you see traffic police taking money. Yeah.
Now we have different approaches to this.
Yes.
From the eyes of the citizen, number one, I don't think that we duly compensate these security agencies. These are people who are working tirelessly off-peak hours and making sure that we are secure. But we do not really compensate them, that is, pay them good salaries. But then it's also an issue of moral decadence in the society, because if we are having people who are working and they are not able to live within their means, then that's an issue of morality. To sum it up, also the issue of integrity, because when as an individual, as a citizen, I want to access services, I should not bribe my way to get those services. If somebody has secured a job to be an attendant, that is at the gate or in any security institution, then they are supposed to offer services as per the employment agreement and all that.
Yes.
So number one, we need to make sure that we compensate our security agencies. We have a lot of hiccups, and in Kenya we rate very lowly in the world in terms of corruption, and our police force is also rated very lowly because of the corruption cases. Then the other area we need to look at is the political goodwill, because those are in power, the ones who are supposed to make sure that these people are considered, they have benefits like insurance benefit, housing benefits, and all those other benefits as enjoyed by other employees or parastatutory workers.
Yes.
So we look at their remunerations, we look at their training. Do we give them the correct skills? Do we train on integrity? And that also gets us back to the issue of our education system, for example.
Yes.
When we are going through the education system, we have training on moral and integrity.
Yes.
So it's a wide scope. We cannot solely compare, that is, talk about the issue of poor remuneration to be the causative agent for corruption and all that. So it's a wide area that we can consider.
Okay, let's say in 2 minutes, I want you to give your view in 2 minutes. The hierarchy, do you see like there is a chain of command when you come to the area of traffic police? These policemen who are on the road, they are policemen and policewomen, that's where we generalize them. So they take money from every PSP that is passing, and it's vivid. Kenyans can see it, and even people can record it. But there is nothing being done about it. Is there a chain of command, like this money comes from they are the pickers. It goes to this office, then it goes. How do you see it?
Now, let me comment from a citizen perspective. I have mentioned to do something to do with the political goodwill, because if there is that willingness to have a change in the police department, then it must come from the top.
Yes.
If there is that political goodwill, then it will trickle down. But we do not want to squarely blame the traffic police.
Yes.
Because for every recipient there is a giver. That means that even those people, the offenders, are partakers. Talk about the PSV drivers, talk about other road users. We do not want to follow the guidelines that are there, because if, for example, you are a driver and your vehicle is okay, you have all the documents, you are licensed as a driver, you do not have the reason as to why you should be able to give bribe.
Yes.
So, to some extent, there is rot.
Yes.
Rot in the police department, and it starts from the top. If the officers are doing it at the ground level, then that means it's running through the chain. Yes. So, to my extent.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, so to our viewers who are viewing us out there, we are at Kings TV at Facebook and Kings Fraternity at YouTube. Go there, subscribe, share, and hit on the subscription bell. And we are going to go for a short commercial break. We'll be back in a while. Thank you. Welcome guys, it's at Kings TV on Facebook and at Kings Fraternity on YouTube. Go there, subscribe, share, and comment. So people who are joining us right now, we are talking about the topic today, the theme today is about in whose hands are we safe in? Because we see the government is becoming the oppressor to its own citizens. So we are with our official list here and our best analyst. So we continue the question to where we had stopped. Okay, so the next question goes by, are there laws that are made to protect its citizen from its own government?
Now, number one, in my introduction I said that we are in a democratic country, and if you look at the constitution, the power is vested in the people. So the laws, and that's why after every 5 years we go back to election, they come up with leaders. So over time the government has been able to come up with laws that are able to protect. And like for example, the government has a independent institution referred to as IPOA. It's in full, it's independent police oversight. So these are an institution where an individual can launch a complaint on an individual police officer or an individual security agent or an institution under the police service. So this is an institution that is there to safeguard the people against the police force. Yes. Initially, remember, with the time, there has been quite a number of changes. Initially, we were talking about the police force. Apparently, if you have been keen, it has been transformed to police services. And that's why they came up with the slogan, Utumishi kwa wote. So we are the institutions that are there also safeguard people against oppression or excessive force. Like today, if you go out there are demonstrations and all that, then somebody, or else, let me give you a case scenario. In some elections, sometimes back, we had a kid who was shot. Yes. In Isri. And that matter was taken over by the institution that I've mentioned, that is IPOA. And there were actions that were taken and to that effect.
Okay, thank you, because I've learned a new thing. My question to my own self was like, I was fighting against myself, and I was like, a police assault me, who will I report to? When I go to a police station and just call him, tell me there is only this guy.
You are reporting a police to a police.
Yes, you are reporting a police to a police. It was so okay. So my question goes: can the government run without bribery? How can we? Can the government?
It's very much possible. I've talked about the issue of goodwill. I've talked about the issue of integrity. If we are able to do things, and we have case studies in some of these countries. Even if we don't go very far, talk about countries like Rwanda,
Yes.
which is coming up very well. They are running institutions very professionally. So it's about integrity, professionalism, and making sure that we are responsible. Because if you take part in corruption and you are not charged, that also takes us to the issue of our judiciary system.
Yes.
If we are able to account for our actions and we are charged, then that one will bring down. So it's possible. Let's have a goodwill. Let's have advocate for integrity. Let us advocate for that is professionalism. Let us advocate for just judiciary system.
Okay. We see there was a scenario that police are hiring clothes and police guns to thieves. Are those police even qualified to be police? Because we find if a police is giving out a gun to a thief and the thief comes to me, they kick me hard because they want to take my property away from me. Then I go to report to the same police. Will there be of any help?
I think on this issue of the police service, there is in every market we say there is a mad person. So in the police force, we don't have 100% professionals or people who are there because it's a calling.
Yes.
We have some bad elements who take the name of the security agents. So these are the people that need to be exonerated from the police service. They need to be charged, they need to be retrenched on that basis. They're supposed to be disciplinary action within the forces. Although there is no that big variance in the number of people who are involved in that, but they are there. We have seen such cases, and sometimes back we were even shocked when we had an imposter being a regional commissioner. You remember sometimes back in the Rift Valley we had an imposter who has gone up the ladder to become a commissioner of police, and it was not legally hired. So such cases are there. They are not many, but these are cases we need to face with a lot of seriousness.
Okay. So let's say you have said if I get abused by a police officer, if blackmail happens to me, because to the youths out here, we face a lot of challenges. I'm out there, I meet a policeman or a policewoman, mostly it's a policeman. He comes with something holding in his hand. He comes, kijana kuja hapa, then touches your pocket, touching, then he tells you, kijana uko na bangi. He blackmails me. He forces me to pay him for me not to be taken to court or not to be arrested. But it is something that he has come with it, not because I had it. Or let's say people with dreads, they are always seen as thieves.
They are suspects.
Yeah, suspects. Every time you are arrested for nothing, you can be arrested. How can we, where can we find this IPOA?
So apparently we are in the digital world, so you can simply send an email address, and once we are dealing with the security forces, it's good that we at the beginning we deal with them incognito. That is, we advocate for email addresses, address your issues. Let us not have a confrontation. Then at the same time, we have the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, where you can even address. Apparently, even there is a forum for engage the IG, engage the DCI, where you do it online. So you can be able to use the various platforms to report your issues. Then also remember there are hotlines that are there that you can be able to report your issues. You have the historical 999, we have 112, we have various numbers that, or hotlines that you can use to reach out or to communicate.
Okay, so this is the last question that goes to you. We put it as this: you are given the mandate of becoming the head of security in the country. What would you change, or what would you do to make the government run in a way that it will be perfect and make it as possible, the best as possible?
That is matters.
Yeah,
security.
correct. The government, let's give them an alternative. You're supposed to do like this. Maybe tell them, if you did like this would be better. Yeah.
Number one, I don't know who came up with the idea that for you to qualify to be an ordinary corporal, or what you may term as a police, you need to have D+ and below. So we need to make sure that we professionalize the institution.
Yes.
If you go to the army, and that's why number one, that is my personal opinion.
Yes.
That's why we have a world of difference between the army and the police. So it's also paramount. Number one, can we engage professionals? Can we engage people with academic qualifications that are right?
Yes.
So we need to go to our colleges, we need to go to our universities. We encourage these people to join the police service. So we need to have the brains, people who can help us crack cases, people who can be able to give us the best,
Yes.
people who can make us rate. So the issue of qualification,
Yes.
the people of the type, what we call the irreducible minimums that we use when we are that is recruiting the police. That is one area we need to check. The other area is goodwill. As I said, if we have to change the entire service, it has to come from the top. So if it's about the corruption you're talking about, if it's about the implementation of policies and procedures, then we must enforce. And it has been proven that with the right goodwill, then it is doable. The other one is a matter of policies, a matter of encouraging the remuneration of our officers. We need to look at them. These are family people. These are people who are being depended on by very many other dependents. So we need also to make sure that we come up with a salary scale that is also in line with other government employees.
Okay, thank you. I've enjoyed the moment. We have come to the end of our show, and I've heard that you have wisdom in this sector. And some other time we'll try to come and enhance more about the security of Kenya, because it is a big area. It is a big and a large one that we cannot tackle within several couple of minutes. Okay, for the meantime, I will give you the chance to speak to the camera and tell people where they can find you, how they can get assistance, how the advice you can give to people.
Now, security, as I said, is an individual responsibility. So we need to make sure that we are on the right.
Yes.
If you're on the right, you are safe. Then we need also to know our rights, to know how to channel our complaints. We need to know what is our responsibility as Kenyans. So for me, you want to find me SK Steve Kenya at LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so we have come to the end of our Hot Mashup Friday discussion show. So for the early birds, eat the best ones and the fat one. So we have come to the end of this show. So I was your host, Muya Dominic. See you next time. Thank you.